Okay, everybody, I think we're live now. I am streaming this particular Hangout, so I need to know from the outside chat how's the quality, how's the audio, how's the video. Obviously, with YouTube being not the greatest thing to stream to sometimes, it can buffer and things of that nature, and I don't want to get involved too much in the Hangout if there's going to be issues. So please let me know immediately how the sound quality is, both on my end and the guest, and if it's not good enough, we can just do a normal Hangout. But I'd rather try doing this way because we have a great panel today and we can actually record the chat as we do this. So while we're doing that, let's introduce everybody here. We've got Tony Reed. We've got the Geek Room. We got Pelagia, not Pelogia, but he'll accept that. We've got, oh, see, he didn't like that. He ran off. Luciano, who's really new to the community. Matter of fact, as of like today. We got Iseth the Original. We got Dieter Lukem. Dieter Luke. I'm a bunch of Dieter Lucium. Dieter Lucium. Do it right for me. Dieter Lukem. Dieter Lukem.
Dieter
Lukem. There we go.
Proud of you.
It takes me a while. Dieter Lukem actually is somebody I know from Twitter, but I never really looked at his content. I knew of him, and I actually went to his channel this morning. Good stuff. I was really impressed. So what we're going to be talking about today, though, as many of you guys know, many content creators, both small and large, have kind of plateaued out recently. If you look at the numbers, and I do pay attention to the analytics, even the bigger name YouTubers seem to have reached a threshold where they just can't even break that other 1,000 level. People that have 10,000 have a very difficult time getting 11. People that have 11, difficult time getting 12, and so on. It's not like it was in the older days when there was less content going to YouTube, and it was much easier to reach 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. And it is more difficult today because there is that much more content. And with the smaller channels, especially with the monetization issue, YouTube just came out recently that now you have to have 1,000 subs and 4,000 hours watched in 12 months. And for a lot of small channels, that's going to be rough to get to. It took me quite some time to even get my first 1,000. So what I wanted to do was I want to have a panel with experts that have been around for a while and some of the newer channels on what we could do as a community. And that means the Great Debate community and the extended Great Debate community, people that are not specifically in our little fun little group we call the Great Debate community, that can help either promote the smaller channels or give us advice of how to put ourselves out there more on social media and things of that nature, because obviously there's only so much that could be done. And as Dieter had mentioned earlier, shout outs are great, but they don't have as much of effect as they did years ago. I get about 1.5 to 1.7 bump every time somebody does a shout out. The Living Dinosaur, King Crocoduck, I had about 1.5% bump. So I wanted to see what you guys have to say about maybe how you guys got up to your 10,000, what you recommend for the newer creators, like something like Lucia, how do you pronounce your name again? The new guy. Luciano. I'll get that right. Luciano. Yeah, I have to look at Luciano. And go from there. So we're just kind of like maybe go one by one, and then you can kind of give us a rundown of basically your advice to give or what you're looking for your channel on how you want your channel to grow. And I'm going to start with the Geek Room, actually, because the Geek Room is one of our podcast partners per se. We're starting our own podcast with Kyle Curtis and the Non Sequitur Show, which just had their first podcast the other day. We had Ken Hovind with Dr. Herman Mays. We had about 1,500 views so far on that. We've got 340 downloads on iTunes, which is huge, I think, for a new podcast. I looked into it, and most podcasts get about 20 to 30 for new. So for having 300, I think 333 was exactly what I looked at. I think that's pretty good, but you guys are going to have to tell me how iTunes is for an average. But the Geek Room, I mean, you just broke your 1,000.
Finally. Yeah.
So go ahead.
I don't know, besides obviously making friends with a lot of YouTubers and, participating with whatever they want to do or have them on our show and stuff like that. As far as social networking, we post to Reddit, but I wouldn't recommend it. Just because there's a lot of people that get really, really touchy when you even put your video out there.
Yeah, you can't upload your own content to Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what helped us out a good bit is just pretty much networking with other creators and stuff like that. And for any smaller YouTubers, that's my advice for them. It's just a network. Because I mean, you can upload videos all day and you can, throw them out on Facebook and stuff like that, and you'll get subscribers. But sometimes when you network with other people and they get to see your stuff and see what you have to offer, that'll sometimes bring in a little bit faster and a little bit more. I guess that makes sense.
Well, yeah, of course. But, let's put it in perspective. Most of our combined subs, right? Your huge audience is part of my audience and part of Apologia's and part of ISEF and Tony's. I mean, we all kind of share probably a good 1,000 people out of our subs that listen to the Great Debate Community. We listen to those types of channels. Holy Kool-Aid included, Rachel Oates, Rationality Rules, Godless Cranium, Godless Engineer, Genetically Modified Skeptic. There's a whole slew of them. So how do we go branching beyond that? How do we get newer people into the community? Now, what we're doing, we're reaching new audiences through various medium, other than just what we see as far as Facebook and G Plus and that things. We're actually going to different venues and getting people that actually promote venues, and they're going to be helping us promote the Great Debate Community. Now, that's not starting until about March probably, but that's in the works. But how do you recommend trying to get people from the outside of our community? Because we need more people on Twitter. We do need people on the social platforms, but those have to be through people sharing links. That's the biggest way. Tony, how about you? Do you want to kind of give a suggestion on that? And by the way, you just reached, have you reached 5,000 yet? You're just shy of that, aren't you? No, you were just over 5,000, right? Tony? Tony? Can you hear me? Is it not? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I think he froze.
Okay, it's him, not me. Okay.
I can hear you. I think Tony froze.
Okay, because whenever I get silence, I'm like, did my computer die? All right, well, we'll ask somebody else. Paul, by the way, and congratulations.
I'm sorry, it got so, for some reason, it was very disappearing.
Yeah, go for it, Tony. And by the way, introduce your channel, because I'm not lying. I think Tony, and God bless everybody else, but Tony, you have the best, one of the most undersubbed YouTube channels of all time, and I'm just not placating you. Was it placating? Yeah.
Thank you.
It's true. Your channel is amazing. It's almost as good as Paul.
Thank you.
What?
Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I could go off on how awesome Apologia is, but my show is called How Creationism Taught Me Real Science. Most people that have seen it probably thought I was a creationist and clicked away, but hopefully they'll go back one day. But my show is predicated on the idea of presenting the creationist argument and exploring it seriously.
I was one of those people, by the way. The first time I ever saw one of your videos, I'm like, oh, I'm going to rip this mofo apart. Oh, this is pretty good. This is really good. So you got me.
You're not, believe it or not, my audience base is not my target audience. It's so I would say if you ever want to be successful with your channel, watch everything I do and don't do that, because I've done everything wrong. I have not marketed, I have not networked, I haven't monetized until 2 or 3 days ago. So, I mean, I've done everything wrong. What has helped me, the only things that have helped me is it started with Fish Head Salad actually shouting me out. And then I found a subject that was really controversial, and I've never gotten a better viewership day than this. I did a video on Kent Hovind and the conspiracy, so to speak, to arrest him. The subject was controversial enough that I suddenly saw a spike. I guess if I was to say anything to get your channel out there, is take on subjects that piss people off.
Yeah, controversy does sell. There's no question. And I've had Kent on 6 times now. I've moderated his debates. My highest video is actually Kent, unfortunately. It's a double-edged sword, though, because he gets to take the debates and put them on his channel as well, and of course I have to link to him because that's obligatory, although he has not yet linked to mine. His IT guy said he will eventually. But
Steve, can you hear me?
I can
Sorry for interrupting you, but a
yes.
couple of people say that they can't see the stream.
I'm looking at the live chat. They seem okay.
Let me see.
Live chat. Can you see the stream?
Words of discouragement.
I see it on my end. I'm
something.
looking at my other monitor that's actually monitoring the YouTube feed. It seems okay.
You might just want to refresh. Whoever had that concern.
Lady Unicorn EJG says I can. By the way, don't know the name, but welcome, Lady Unicorn. Words of discouragement. You're new too.
Okay, good.
I do know new names
Yeah, I'm
in the
seeing
live
you
chat,
guys just
so,
fine.
I try to pay attention to new people. So yeah, I think they're good. All good here. So
The rest of us can go to hell.
oh, you know what? I need to refresh myself. I thought something was wrong. I'm looking at my link and it says 22 people waiting. I'm like, wait a minute here. We're already going here. So how can they be waiting? That's weird.
No, I'm seeing it right now.
How many people have I got watching?
Working just
I had to do this a little bit differently, so I can't see how many people I got watching. Anybody want to throw a number out there out of curiosity?
43.
Okay, that's not too bad. I said 50, right? Did I not say about 50? So it's that time of the day when we don't get that many, but people watch this. Trust me.
I guess that includes me.
Yeah. Oh, Imperatrius is in the live chat. You're welcome to come in too, EA. He's on that list with Paulogia and Iseth as well for the top 40 atheist channels on YouTube for what's the name of the feed something or other? Nobody even remembers. Feed something or other. Yeah, that's how important it was. It was like, yeah.
The worst part of the whole thing was at the very top it said if you own one of these channels that they made a badge that you can copy and paste. And like, I don't know if anyone else is old enough to remember GeoCities, but holy cow, like that's just screamed of.
I do remember GeoCities.
1997.
Yes.
Oh, I got an award for my channel! Yay!
Oh
or my
my God.
website.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
That's
Wow, that just took me back.
that's the amount of stock I put into that little list.
Let's get over to Dieter. Dieter, you know, this is the first time you've ever been to one of my hangouts, so by the way, welcome to the Great Debate community. I know you know a lot of the people in here, but you have not been exposed to the GDC, and they have not been exposed to you. So you want to kind of introduce yourself and your channel real quick and give some feedback on what you think of all this and how to promote other people's channels? Because you have a really substantially large channel, actually.
Well, thank you
And you have a great radio
for
voice,
all that.
by the way. Love that voice.
Hello, everyone. I'm Data Lucum. And I guess just my channel first. This is the way I'm going to describe my channel is going to play a lot into how I'm going to give the very basic advice on running a channel in general. And that is the channel is me. Like, it's basically just me on the internet. So it's like I'll cover basically any topic that I feel like talking about. The channel itself started off just as a very, I guess the initial growth started off as just being very, very lucky. I'm going to say being lucky a lot in this explanation. And it's basically a friend mentioned a video, and this is when I was making like maybe I made like maybe 3 videos before this one. And it was a Josh Fierstein video. And he was like, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to make a response to this guy. I can't contain myself. This has to happen now.
That's how I found you.
Yeah, I wonder how
awesome.
many people did response videos with Josh. He put a lot of people on the map, didn't he?
But it's like I made the response video to him, and it just blew up like ridiculously quickly. I think I deleted all the videos before that video because I'm like, all right, this is when my channel starts. And it's really, that was a combination of luck and personality. It's like, I think people, I genuinely do think some people did just enjoy my take on things and how the method in which I responded to stuff. But also it had a lot to do with luck. Responding to Josh Fierstein was really popular at the time, so it would come up in a lot of people's feeds as similar video, and it just kind of exploded.
Do you notice that there's not that much type of thing going on YouTube like that anymore? I mean, there are some people we respond to. I mean, there are like people like Deflating Atheism and Max Colby, who I kind of tackled them a little bit before, but they're so not worth my time that I don't want to do response videos to those kind of fruit on the ground creationist type of stuff. It's just not my thing. I did that years ago. I did a fruit on the ground creationist series, and those guys are just not worth my time. And by the way, Logic did a much better job than I could ever do on it anyways. I mean, he did a 2-part series on those guys, and he just eviscerated them. But I mean, nowadays you notice that there isn't really anybody to go after per se. I mean, Venom Fang X, he's been around, but all he's doing is regurgitating the same old stuff.
I disagree.
With I actually disagree as well.
Or with or there's
no. I disagree that there is nothing to go after.
Go ahead.
There's tons of stuff to go after. Seriously.
Like whom?
The amount of madness that I find on the internet. Like, the problem I have is not that much that there is nothing on the internet. The problem I have, it's so damn stupid I don't even know what to talk about.
Yeah, well that's the kind of thing, exactly. It's not really interesting to me to point out stupid things that we all know anymore.
It should be taken and it should be squished. You know, and if I would be less lazy, probably would do it.
One of my most popular videos is me responding to Pastor Greg Locke. He did that thing in December that a lot of people went bananas over. I pointed out that all he wants is attention, and he even says it in the video. And that video has 125 views. I got 3 subscribers because of that video alone. So I don't know. I mean, for me, it worked fairly well for someone who's like brand new.
Yeah, I mean, that guy has been around the block for a while. The Geek Room, actually, you have a big thing with him, don't you? Like a big beef with him, don't you? Pastor Luke.
Oh, I think he stepped out for a second.
Yeah, and I get that. Doing response videos to people is a way to get out there. I don't really bother to do it much, and I certainly don't do it with people that I like and people that are in the Great Debate community. If I disagree with like Paula G or something, I'm not going to make a video about it, even if I vehemently disagree with him. It's just not a style that I take. I don't punch up. So that's, I mean, I have nothing against people doing it. If you think somebody's wrong, yeah, make a video about it. But I'd rather go to somebody in private and go, hey, you know, Paul, that video you did on that science thing, yeah, you sucked at it. But that's never happened, by the way. But I don't know if that's the type of thing that you want to be known for, where you just kind of attack other people.
Well,
now, I think
is that where you're going, Dieter? Go ahead.
Well, it depends on what you do.
Yeah.
Like, I try the very least for my responses to be very much focused. Like, the person themselves is kind of just the springboard to talk about whatever it is they're talking about. And
sure.
and this kind of plays into another important bit. Like, Steve, you say that you just don't like that style of video. That is perfectly fine. Like, anyone making a channel or making videos or whatever, by all means, try new things. But if there's a style of video that you enjoy doing, then you need to do it as often as possible.
Oh, and I'm not against it.
Because if you don't enjoy what you're actually doing, there's no point in doing it.
There's people that do it better than I do.
Very obvious.
So it wouldn't really work for me. Like, if I watch the TMM, he does a great job. Or if I watch any of you guys do a better job at that more one-on-one, let's pick apart a video. I do it better in real time. I like to do things real time. If I'm going to take apart a video, I want to do it. Okay, let's analyze it. Let's talk about it. Because I like Steve. The real-time stuff.
Hey, Steve, guess what?
What?
My videos are in real time.
Yeah, well, a lot of yours are. Well, no, you had... What do you... Well, yeah, but I mean, you're not... Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
I sit down and play the video and respond to it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you do.
Well, there's a difference between, you have to find the balance between what you want to do and what the audience wants. And if those things correspond, that is a great. And if they don't, you need to choose between whether you want to, adjust your style within something that you're passionate about to adjust to what the audience wants, or you just be pleased with whoever is totally on board with you. So Steve, which is where you've gone. You've like, well, this is the style I want to do, and this is probably maybe there's a cap on the number of people that care, but you just need to be okay with that. I think all of us have our niches. Like, there's only so many people that are going to care about the Christianity stuff that I talk about. I know that's a limiting factor, but it's what I'm passionate about, so that's where I stay.
Right. No, and I totally
Pauloja makes a good point.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Iseth, go.
Iseth.
Okay, so I think that you all make good points, but there is something that we have to settle straightforward, because obviously I'm not just like, this is not just my channel that I'm talking about. I've also seen Logic grow, And we have tried a lot of things, and we have found out a lot of things. And there is something that you have to basically set straight right since the beginning. You know, either you do what you like, or you do what you have to do to get up. In the vast majority of cases, doing what you like will not get you up to the top. So you either find a balance somewhere in between, or you just have to have your niche product, you know, channel to just sit there. And there is this guy, he has this puppet show. It's a very cute puppet show. If I remember the name, I will tell you, or I will just give you the link. But he has this very nice, cute puppet show where every week he makes a couple of videos where he has basically his puppets talking. And that is what he wants to do. That's all he does. He really just likes to talk about everyday events or weekly events or a topic that he picks with his little puppets, where every single puppet has, like, you know, its own character and its own, you know, ideas. And he knows that he's a niche product in a sense. There will not be many people who want to look at puppets sharing their opinion. And that is fine for him. Other people want to just grow and pass everyone by. And they have to look at so many different things. They have to look at marketing themselves. For example, if you have a certain pattern of video, if you make your video always the same way, you know, if you structure it a particular way, people know what to expect. And there are all kinds of tricks. For example, if you put a very particular kind of thingy, the thingy where the video shows up, how is it called?
What is it?
Thumbnail?
Thumbnail.
If you have a very particular thumbnail where you basically have always the same structure, the same pattern, the same coloring, particular colors, and everyone knows, okay, there is this green patch with this weird top hat on, I know this is a video of this guy, I'm going to click on it. That's all things, you know, strategies that have nothing to do with your video, but that you can still put in. And then you have, for example, the issue with do you make the videos the way you like? For example, Hangouts are pretty long. And YouTube likes videos that are longer than a certain amount of time. However, there are a lot of people who don't like to view videos that are longer than, for example, half an hour, because it just takes them too long. So there is a balance there too. So if you are a person who really likes short videos, who makes like 3-4 minute videos, you will not have any help from YouTube, because YouTube will not, you know, support you, because they can't make any money off of you. And at the same time, if you make 2-3 hour long videos, there is not that much of a chance that many viewers watch you for the first time, because your videos are just too long. And then you have all other sorts of tricks where, for example, you start off the video with a joke that already catches half the audience. But if you're not the kind of person to make jokes, that will not work for you. And it's really hard to find the balance between gaining subscribers and actually doing what you like.
You got to have a mix, right? In order to keep people happy. Well, I mean, I ran into the same problem. I mean, you guys know that you know, there were some issues with the Great Debate community and the direction that we were going to go, and I wanted to go in more of a science, and I wanted to go into more productive conversations, and I wanted to go a more intelligent conversation, raising the bar. And really, if you, especially if I bring in theists and stuff like that, really having good conversations with them and bringing out the arguments and let's say, you know what, if you have an argument for younger creationism, come on in. We'll argue it with you against it, obviously. But I wanted to have those kind of dialogues that we used to have, because I noticed a lot of the way the GDC was going was much more into the trash talking, and I was trying to get away from that. And so that's not what I like to do. It's okay. It's fun every so often. We will continue to do it. But I think you're right. You have to find a happy medium between what the people that subscribe to you want to listen to and what you like, because people do like the trash talking. I get that. That's why we do it every so often. But I don't want to be the predominant thing on my channel, right?
You know, you said before something about response videos. I want you to pay attention to the kind of response videos, because there are several things in response videos that you can pay attention to. If you take, for example, because you were the kind of person, for example, that you said you don't really want to tell people what they do wrong. And so you wouldn't really like to make response videos. You would rather go to private to the person and say, you know, this is kind of bad and this is kind of good. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, when you make a response video, you don't respond to the person, you respond to the viewer. Because, like, for example, when you saw the video Logic made to Armored Skeptic, we knew before the video was even made that there would never be a response video because of what Logic had to say. Mm-hmm. What Logic had to say in his response video was not meant for the guy who he was responding to. It wasn't meant for Greg. It was meant for the people watching Logic and for the people potentially watching Greg and then seeing Logic's video. Because that's the people you make it for. That's the people that you want to reach with the response video. And then obviously, I don't know exactly who said it, but yeah, you know, partially it's just a leeway into the topic. You know, if you have someone saying stupid things, that gives you a chance to talk about certain things that you want to talk about. Because if you just go, hey guys, let's talk about, I don't know, creationism, or hey guys, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. First of all, it's easy for you to strawman people because there is no one you're actually replying to or no argument that is actually made. And secondly, if there is someone making that argument, then already you have the legitimacy to talk about it. So there are several things, you know, where it does make sense to make a response video. And one of the things that is very easy to make with a response video is you can put in a bit of drama, you know, you can make jokes, you can be nasty, but then you can also just put in all sorts of facts. So first you can make a little joke, and then you just back it up with fact after fact after fact, and then you link it in the description, and then you can basically catch two flies with one hit.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're saying. I think it really matters, again, what your style is, right? I used to do some response videos. I've done videos and I've responded to how many people in the Clown Car Posse, obviously. But you know what's funny is those videos probably were my least watched, but highest rated. People loved them. They had the best comments, most thumbs up, but they didn't get very much watched. I mean, some of them are like 500 views.
Yeah, but stats don't lie. Stats don't lie. People tell you, like, you can't follow by your comments.
So what's the metric you should look at then? I mean, what do you go by?
Watch minutes, really. And if you go into your analytics, if you're a YouTube creator, you should be using your analytics like crazy, and you should be watching the graph that gives you audience retention. Mm-hmm. And it tells you, you know, second by second in your video where people leave and, you know, when they come and where they go. Like, you should be pinged.
I have a very high audience retention.
Videos in particular.
Believe it or not.
You definitely watch the audience retention. As soon as you dip, you know, that means you spent too long doing something. You said the wrong word. You said a word they didn't like. You know, you got to pay attention to that.
Yeah. No,
unfortunately, I have to go in a bit, but I actually want to throw one thing out there. You know, in terms of advice that I follow, the game of YouTube to me is incredibly fun, and I love it. And it's beneficial if you do. But anyway, I just wanted to share that in general, my suggested videos. So I have this weird anomaly that more people watch my videos than subscribers every time. Every one of my videos has more views than I have subscribers. Mm-hmm. And it's because I play the suggested video game. 48% of my videos, 48% of my views come from suggested, whereas I think it's only, I don't know, something crazy, like 20% comes from my subscribers. And what you want to play is, if you want to hit the algorithm, you really need to pay attention to your keywords. So I would love for anyone who watches and actually cares about growing, worry less about shoutouts, worry less about that. Find the videos that you think are most closely related to yours and that get a lot of traffic and that you want to see. Get a tool like TubeBuddy, which is free, and look at their tags. And tags play a huge role in what videos you come up on the side for. And so if you're doing your tag research, and if you're going to look at the videos that you think you're closest to and look and see what tags they have, use them. Frankly, if you're making a response video to me, which some people do on occasion, tag me. Like, you should be definitely tagging Paula Gia, or like I tag Ken Ham and Eric Hovind in all of mine, and I end up showing up in theirs because I pay very careful attention to matching exact tags, and the longer the phrase, the better.
Yeah, I think that's good form, by the way. If you, we have a unstated rule: if you do a video against somebody or you talk about somebody, they have a right to respond. So you should tag them.
If you're a YouTuber and you're not using TubeBuddy, you're just giving yourself, you're handicapping yourself.
Yeah, TubeBuddy's great. TubeBuddy is really great, and I have Video IQ too.
Video IQ and Morning
I've never heard of it.
Those are my three tools. That
Tony, you're behind the curve. This is trying to help you out. You're the test person because you've done everything wrong from the beginning. Why start doing things right now?
I don't know.
no, that's great advice, Paul.
Hey, Mel. No, what I will say is there was a time, by the way, and I've been on YouTube since like about 3 months after the site began. But what there was a cohesion. It was, you are allowed to disagree. I'll give you a great example. There was a video that was done by Shane Killian that was meant to be a response, or not. It was more of a tribute to CDK007. Those are old YouTubers, and it was about the speed of light, and it was about Supernova SN 1987A. And then there was somebody else, you might know him. His name was Pat Condell. He was kind of very well known for a while. He did a video that was a response to that was showing how he was erroneous in a lot of his calculations, but that the overall thesis was correct. And what I notice is when people decide to, in debate videos nowadays, when they're doing responses, they're concentrating on that. And I think there's a little issue there. And the issue is that it's sort of game theory, where you're thinking of yourself versus the overall community. And as far as I'm concerned, I really haven't thought about anything but making videos. And so I'm glad to be a part of this, because I'm learning about things like TubeBuddy. But I do think we have to think about marginalized group. I mean, we're not. I don't really feel anybody suppressing me, but at the same time, being open about your atheism and educating people, it's going to meet with a lot of resistance, because it takes effort. And all of us have taken that effort. I'm
Tony,
sorry.
Do you think that we're all in a niche in some way? And by the way, Paul, do you have to go real quick? Because I'll say goodbye to you if you're leaving.
No, I have a few more minutes, but okay. I wanted to just spit out my thing that was on my mind. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
please do.
But Tony, do you think before you go, Paul, let me know before you leave, because I wanted to add something to you real quick. But Paul, Tony, do you think though that we all in some kind of niche? I mean, we all are either atheist or skeptic or agnostic or science. We're all science oriented. That's kind of the thing that I really want to push more than anything. I really don't care anything about the theological stuff anymore. I really just don't. I find it fascinating to listen to, but I want to promote good science. I want to get back to where I was with my roots, where I was against young Earth creationism and flat Earth, and just promoting good stuff like Mel does. Right? That I think is the direction I want to take. But do you think that we're all limiting ourselves, because that is our niche, believe it or not? It is. If some things are tangential, like people promoting, the atheism aspect of it, which isn't really my thing. But do you think that we're all kind of limited on that in some ways?
I would say that we're definitely limiting ourselves in terms of marketing. But as far as honesty, I mean, we're dealing with, whether we're dealing with the spiritual, we tend to leave a little space to say, hey, yeah, there's a possibility that there is a God. But most of the time, we're just dealing with what we can actually deal with, what we can actually experience. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would say that if you're asking if we should be addressing some of those other philosophical notions, yeah, probably we are in terms of marketing. But maybe it comes down to whether you want to print reality or print the legend. And some people want to print the legend.
Mel, what do you got to add? By the way,
I wanted to jump in as well, but you haven't talked yet. Go ahead.
Please.
Okay, me?
Yeah, Mel's a teacher in a school. She's like, "Can I speak? I gotta go to the bathroom." By the way, fashionably late. But, yes, go ahead, Mel, of course, and then we'll get to Dieter.
Okay, so having had experience having educated those of various belief systems, including that is highly religious, and they're quite resistant to science. I recently got to have a podcast episode. I'm editing it now with Evo PhD. She's on Twitter. Her research is exclusively towards evolution and education. And so we talked very heavily about how it's important to respect some of these beliefs and the fact that this is a part of who people who have these beliefs are. And if you're at some point in time, when you present information that's contradictory to what they've been told, it's a painful experience for them to have to deal with the fact that somebody's not told them the truth. And so one thing that she brings up is, we put this in front of them and they're like, you've been lied to, but we don't have any kind of care associated for that to kind of help them process and cope with this. We just kind of dump it on them and we're like, process this. And then we walk away and they're just like, yeah, no, I'm not going to listen to you because you're shifting my paradigm. It's exceedingly painful. And I've seen this happen in some of my smarter students when I did teach high school who were highly religious. You could see that internal struggle on their face. And my heart broke for them because there's this really smart, super smart girl, made hundreds on everything, probably valedictorian of her class, going to go on and do fantastic things, but she struggled because she's having to cope with the fact she's been lied to. So to a degree, yeah, we kind of need to address the fact that people have various beliefs, and these are things that have made them feel good about themselves. They've grown up believing this. This is part of their community. This is a little bit of who they are. And when you present information that contradicts things and it's substantial evidence, and it hurts. It's a painful experience for them. So we've got to be able to institute some kind of care to say, hey, I know this is painful and this may be a lot to take in, but I'm still here if ever you have questions or, you want to talk to me about this. I'm here to listen. And I know this contradicts what you've been told. I just want you to understand what the evidence is. You don't have to believe it. I just want to make certain you understand what these words mean, what evidence is, and I'm not going to try to change your mind because that's something they're going to have to do on their own. That's not anything we can do.
Yeah, it's definitely something
because
to
they're
be
going to
addressed.
be resistant for that.
But those students that you talk about, do you ever send them to like any of the content creators that we have here, do their videos and say, hey, look why don't you go check out Tony's stuff? If you want to learn more about this, or do you want to come join the Great Debate community and talk about this stuff in real time, have conversations like this? Because
have you seen any of my stuff?
I've watched one.
Yes.
I think I've watched a large majority. You got like 73 videos, dude. So and they're not very long. They're like 15 minutes each, but I've watched quite a few of them. That's for sure. Yeah.
Okay, go. I was talking to Mel actually.
Oh, she doesn't know who you are.
What? Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
What did you say? I missed it.
Have you ever watched Tony's stuff now?
Have I ever watched Tony's stuff? I haven't had a chance to yet. My mind is like Grand Central Station because lately I've had to take a break from my science account for a week. But it is on my list of things to do.
So
I'm pretty excited to watch them, so I'm going to watch them.
You'll want to stab yourself for a second, and then you'll be okay. It's a slap and tickle kind of show.
No, but I think it's a good repository of when you have a creationist that puts out something and says, this is what I believe because I've seen it on AIG or ICR. Going to channels like Paulogia's and Tony's is a great resource to have because they have it all right there. They have we've talked about this before. I mean, like for example, we've had Mary Schweitzer on, and then Paulogia, did a video on that. Great. Repository of information. If somebody says, well, hey, we found dinosaur blood and we found, this and that, and it can't be that old. Well, go watch Paulogia's video because he explains why they're wrong. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because and I talk a lot about cognitive bias, and people have a hard time accepting evidence that doesn't support their personal belief systems. That's confirmation bias. They'll pick what reinforces their belief system, but they'll sit there and go, atheists are destroying everything in the world, and you're like, just dude, no, they're not. It's just we got to get past all of this. Religion this and non-religion that, and getting all angry and say, well, religious people this and this. Well, but the thing is, this exists. All right. We have atheists, we have agnostics, we have skeptics, we have scientists, we have a whole mix of different things. We have religion here and there thrown in places. So you have to, as science communicators, we have to accept that people are going to have varying belief systems, and you have to address that. You have to respect it to a degree, and have to understand if you're going to have a productive conversation with somebody, you can't immediately just start digging in the claws like Wolverine and rip them apart, because then you've already killed it.
I don't know if you have to respect the beliefs, though. I mean, I believe in respecting a person, but if somebody has a belief that I know is absolutely potato, I'm not going to respect that belief, right? And it's not just a matter of difference of ideology. It's you're trying to tell me something that I know is fundamentally not the way the universe works.
Right.
Potato.
Well, I understand that.
Potato.
I understand that. But what is the goal of having? What you need to see is what is the goal of having a conversation with the person you're talking to? Are you just gonna? Is the whole purpose is just to lay waste to them, or?
It depends on who you're talking to. I mean, have you seen some of my debates? It depends on who I'm talking to. If I go against somebody that I know is just fractally wrong, I'm going to lay waste to them, like my debate with true empiricism. I just
go ahead, Dieter.
You gotta go.
Oh, you gotta go, Paul.
No, Dieter wants to talk.
Oh, Dieter. Oh, yes. I've been talking about Dieter. Dieter, welcome back here. Sorry, Dieter. Go ahead, man. Take it. What you got? Poor Dieter. I like this guy already. Can we keep him?
So I was led to believe this hangout was about YouTube and how to do well on it.
Yeah, we've kind of one thing you'll learn about the great debate community in my channel. We jump ship and
there may have been several tangents.
You're right. We need to get back on that.
Mel had a little spiel. I was late. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mel takes things in her own direction.
I think we all adequately understand Mel's channel now.
That's
my channel is my channel is primarily I take a science topic that the viewers vote on and I discuss it, and it's a live stream. They ask me questions while we're going through it. It's almost like a live show. It's not heavily scripted, but I do have content that I discuss. So it's almost like a newsreel kind of thing. But the purpose of my channel is to try to boost scientific literacy. I'm not trying to tell people their beliefs are wrong. I mean, if somebody wants to come at me nicely, but nicely and politely, and I usually don't engage with trolls. I just, after it becomes circular, rude, whatever, I'm like, you're not here to learn. I don't know why you're talking to me. I'm trying to give you information. So that's what I do.
I'm actually very.
That's what I do.
I'm actually very open in my comments, at least, that if you make an assertion and somebody asks you for reference to establish that, and you refuse to do that, I'll give you one more chance, and then that's when I block people.
Oh, do you guys want to hear a funny story about that?
Yeah, I mean,
blocking's no fun. If somebody doesn't back up what they say, I pin their comment to the top of the thing.
By the way, am I still working? Can you hear
That's a conversation start.
Testing.
Dieter, I am so sorry. I have not watched your I'm sorry, I've never heard of you before this broadcast. But I am I just subscribed, and I'm going to watch that. I'm going to read your comments. I can't wait.
It says off air.
Well, I'm resetting this because I don't think they could hear me in the actual hangout there. So going back in here. I know the outside chat can, but they couldn't hear me in here. It's a glitch every so often. So no, you can't get sniped. There's no way to get sniped. All right. Back in.
And I just can't disagree more.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
It's like,
yeah.
Okay, so what happened was every so often with Google,
we were doing better without you, Steve.
You know what?
Steve, out of stuff.
God bless you,
Steve.
Well,
anyway,
Steve's here.
The teacher said to be quiet.
Go ahead. Well,
I'm not a teacher anymore.
The outside chat could hear.
Dieter has the ball of acknowledgement right now, so we're gonna let him
hold. All yours, Dieter.
I just. Okay, so analytics are an amazing tool. I completely agree with Paul, but you should definitely use them to gauge kind of like details about the things you produce. But they are a tool. I completely disagree that you should like run your channel based on them, because like everyone that I've heard so far, we've all have different tactics. We all have different ways of discussing things. Like I kind of half mentioned it before, but it's like I am motivated to have these sort of conversations in the process of having them. Like I can't script for the life of me. My brain just doesn't do that. So it's kind of like you have to figure out the sort of things you actually enjoy doing. This can be responses. This can be long form videos. It can be whatever you want. And you need to tailor your audience to your channel, not the other way around. Like, I think you need to play with YouTube. Like, you got to play YouTube's game, but you can't play your audience's game, because your audience is made of individual people. They'll all like and dislike different things too. They're not a monolith. So people will subscribe and unsubscribe. If I kept all my subscribers, I would have almost 20,000 right now.
You have that many unsubscribed? You had 9,000 unsubscribed?
I think I have like almost 5,000 that have unsubscribed.
What the hell did you do wrong? I get like one every so often.
No, okay. So I do have to say that you do it. No, what I said before, you have to play YouTube's game, and I did not. So, like, every time YouTube revamped the way stuff was presented or whatever, I ignored it. So I would go long stretches of time without uploading. I would, like, my length of videos was never consistent, and it's like a little bit with YouTube.
Gotcha.
But that basically means, like I just said, consistent upload times. The length of your video really should coincide a little bit attention, which basically means under 20 minutes for everyone forever. And then occasionally really long form videos. That's what my analytics says. I don't know if it works for everybody.
Yeah.
No, I think 15 to 20 minutes for a targeted video is actually optimal. Whenever I did my actual
seems like that's
targeted videos,
but
they
my most
like
popular
50,
videos ever are like 40 minutes long.
But my most popular are the debates, though, right? And the debates are going to take much longer. They take 90 minutes. So my highest videos really are people debating. And I understand.
Mine's always.
What's that, Mel?
And before I got to jump, Steve, I wanted to just want to disagree with one thing you said. You were advocating, it seemed like to me, to being broader, to trying to go to a broader audience, and that's the exact wrong thing to do on YouTube. When you want to succeed on YouTube, you need to niche down even more. You can't succeed starting a cooking channel. You probably can't succeed starting a cooking channel with desserts. But if you want to have a cooking channel with desserts that have alcohol in them, or desserts that all have strawberries, or you have to niche down. You have to.
No, I agree with you. That's what I was going to say. Do we go to a broader or to a narrower? Because
that's definitely one that is a useful tactic, depending on what your style is. But I've seen a lot of people, myself is included in this, that the channel is built around you as a person. Mm-hmm. So it's like anything you do, people will watch.
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily even broader topics. It's broader audience that I'm talking about. How do you reach a wider net of people that might be interested?
Word of mouth, more than likely, if I'm honest. I think if people talk about it more, it's going to be, if people are like, hey, have you checked out this person? You're like, okay. With me, what I'm learning is I'm going to start diversifying the type of shows that I do. I'm going to have specific shows. I have my The Science of show. I have an audio podcast that's a bit different than what I do from my YouTube channel. But I'm going to start like a new series, completely different than what I do. But I'm going to have it within my same channel, but I'll have it like filed differently. If you want to check out this thing, you can go here. If you want to check out this thing, you can go here. More of a tongue-in-cheek show. So I have like a tongue-in-cheek sciencey show here, and then I have my more direct, traditional, this is the topic we're talking about, we're interacting, the same format. But I think you can do the niche audience.
Now, is that the same channel,
You just have to make certain.
Mel, is that
I'll have it just on my Scientist Mel channel.
Because here's the thing, the reason I wanted multiple channels is for exactly what Paul's saying. I wanted one channel to be very targeted. The Non Sequitur channel is going to be just for our podcast. That's targeted. The Great Debate community channel is for everybody in the community to use. Most of you guys are managers to that channel. You can go run live hangouts anytime you want. You got a particular topic. So some creators don't like to do live streams. I get that. And so they rather have a channel that they can go to. Bullinator, for example, he doesn't really do live stream on his channel, so he will do the Great Debate community channel and does a live stream. Those are great. But this channel, I wanted to be more the science, refutations of young Earth creationism. So I do understand what Paul's saying as far as targeting, but at the same time, what's wrong with expanding a little bit broadly for other subjects and other channels and things of that nature, Paul? Because you have one channel, and your channel is fantastic.
It is very niche. Whether people follow you. Like you look at just outside of our spectrum, if you just look at YouTube channels, a lot of them lose their audience because they start making videos about something that isn't about what the people originally subscribed for.
Sure.
It's just a thing. Let's like Steve Shives, for example, started making a lot of videos about things that had no reason why I originally started following him. And he has lost more YouTube subscribers than any human I'm aware of.
See, this is where I think it's weird. I follow like the Kevin Smith kind of mentality. He has so many different audio podcasts all on the same site. I think it's possible if you consistently make your show for your original subscribers, and then I have this other thing too. If you like it, great. If not, don't watch it.
Exactly.
But maybe
that's what I'm thinking. By the way, people are saying in the live chat.
The way to do it the most consistently.
All right, Seth, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just interrupting here.
Go ahead.
That's how I've learned it. So, no, the thing is, if you make several things on your channel, make sure they're properly marked. I don't know, for example, if you have a thumbnail where every show X is green and every show Y is blue, then everyone knows, okay, the green ones are the ones I like, the blue ones not that much, so I'll always click on the green ones. If I don't find the green ones, I won't look. Because if you have always the same kind of stuff.
That's actually my channel, exactly.
If you have... exactly.
Paul, this guy.
Like, if you look at, maybe not my channel that much, but on Logic's channel, in his thumbnails, the background color will tell you what he's replying to. For example, if you have a green background, chances are very high it's a video where he's replying to a Muslim. If you have, what else is it, a blue one, then he's replying to an atheist or something like that. So you will see on the background color what the reply is to. And I think that's very neat because it helps the people, first of all, to see what they want to see, without getting them annoyed about the fact that there is so much stuff they actually don't want to see. And at the same time, you can have several things on your channel, where you have several people that are interested in just a particular part of it.
So what do you guys think is the likelihood that it's a good idea to appeal to masochistic scientific people who are masochistic and scientifically literate? I mean, that's what seems to be my target audience. I want to ask what's wrong with my audience.
You attract the people that like your video. It's never that, like, if people watch your video, they're like, oh, I like the stuff, they will subscribe to you. If you or what you do has something that resonates with these kind of people, those are the people who will subscribe to you. If you make a lot of weird, creepy, dumb jokes, you will have a lot of people who subscribe mainly for the weird, creepy, dumb jokes. If you are very serious, you will never get those people to subscribe to you. You attract what your channel is about. So the best you can do is just to do what you like to do, because otherwise you end up in a very, very weird situation.
Yeah, and I said, to add on what you said, real quick, one of the things that we did on the other channel was we put an icon of what the video's about. Like, for example, it was a math hangout, we put a little math symbol. If it was about theology, we put a little cross. If it was about philosophy, we put a little philosophical symbol. For that very reason, because people go, oh, it's a math hangout, I don't want to listen to that because math sucks, right? And they got the least amount of views, but those are my favorites. Go watch them. It's math. Learn math. But that's the same kind of principle, is that people can actually pick and choose and say, oh, okay, this one's dealing with a topic I like. This is dealing with theology, or this is actually dealing with philosophy or something. So you talk about something like theming your videos along those lines. We kind of incorporated that a little bit on the other channel, which I think it helped people target what they want to watch, but at the same time it did limit the viewership on certain videos because they see that math symbol and they automatically go, oh, I ain't watching that. So
well, I mean, also, and you also have titles. You have, like she mentioned, backdrops. You have all kinds of different ways to show that this is a different show than what I'm normally doing. And so my other show that I'm going to start doing is a more tongue-in-cheek kind of funny show. Yeah. It's way different than the other one, but I will title them differently. They'll have different intros. They'll have different logos. They'll have, different music associated with it. So you'll know what it is that you're watching. You know what I mean? And you're like, okay, I don't want to watch
I like never thought of this. So this is hilarious to me. I've been depending on playlists. Just like my
No, playlists are good, but
I hope the people that watch my videos pay attention to playlists.
You definitely need much more than that. And in fact, Paul had left, and I was going to mention it before because he mentioned it, but people didn't really take to it. The end cards and the recommendations at the end of videos to subscribe and to recommend another video or to a playlist or somebody else's channel. Those are critical. I've been doing those on every video recently, and they do work.
I need
to
do those. Yeah. I need to do those.
So something that really matters is how enthusiastic your audience is for the videos that you create. The majority of my subscribers are Hispanics who are interested in mythology, because one of my most popular series is Mythology Mondays, where I talk about mythology from Latin America. Best performing videos are atheism videos, where videos where I talk about religion, skepticism, all of that stuff. Because in my experience, if you share that views, even if the people who watch Hispanic mythology videos are more likely to subscribe. So marketing and the audience enthusiasm also matters.
I was going to say what Mela said. She's talked about different titles. That's what we do, because we each have different shows on our channel. We have the Geek Room Podcast, which covers more of the geeky things like TVs and movies. Then we have the Let's Riff, where we just go over more of the YouTube and atheism side of the stuff. And you'll see people who will bounce, either they'll just watch one or the other, or they'll just, if they really enjoy your channel, they'll watch every video you put out.
Well, how does that convert?
Oh, it's okay. No.
Well, how does that convert to subs, though? Because one thing I do want to mention, and Paul Gia had touched on it, or I think it was Paul Gia, maybe it was Dieter. Somebody had talked about how they get a lot of people watching the videos, but it doesn't really translate to the people actually subscribing. Like, for example, he has, you'll get 20,000 views on a video, but you'll get about 10 subs out of that. So what are some suggestions do you think that the people that watch these videos will not just watch that one video, but go, okay, this is a channel that's going to have more future content that I want to be notified of. And yes, we all know YouTube sucks at notifications. Horrible, freaking horrible. Every day I get somebody say, I didn't get a notification for this. Even after they click the little bell.
Oh, so actually now use the community tab.
The community tab.
Oh, did I just take what you were about to say?
No. I'm refresh my memory. What do you mean by community tab? What do you mean?
The community tab on YouTube. There, you basically, like, what I've started to do recently is every time I put up a video, the next day, or maybe even just a couple hours later, I'll either put up a poll or just a random post that just says, like, what did you think about the video I uploaded? I'm not doing this to make sure you saw it. I'm doing it because I'm genuinely curious.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. So you're saying you manipulate your audience. That's awesome.
I actually do it for both things. Yeah. I'm not actually being that manipulative.
No, I could definitely get that.
Don't just use YouTube. The thing with YouTube is you cannot rely on it. You have to try to find other ways. Like, for example, if you have a Twitter followership, because, I don't know, some people are really into, posting stupid stuff on Twitter. You have to make sure to share it on Twitter. You have to make sure to share it on Facebook. You have to make sure to share it everywhere where you actually have some kind of audience, because YouTube alone doesn't do the trick.
Right. But I said, here's the thing.
I'm sorry to interrupt, guys, but Paul just reminded me to get you need 10K subs to have a community tab.
Oh, that's why okay. Thanks for rubbing it in that I don't have 10K, Dieter. I appreciate that so much. That all these big 10Kers that have been on my channel. Yeah. Well, Paul
it was introduced after I already had that many. I didn't realize it.
Paul Gia had 100 subs when I first brought him into this room. 100 subs. But he earned it. I mean, his content's fantastic. But yeah, I haven't reached that 10K. But thank you for reminding me. That's why we're having this hangout, so we all want to boost up. I mean, we all want to be able to get 5K. I'll be happy with 5, or 10, or 100, or whatever. Even the people that have larger channels, though, like I said, you guys have seemed to be stagnating a little bit. And what it's just, Iseth was saying about putting it out there on Twitter and all these different platforms, we do that. Here's, I think, what we're kind of lacking as a community is I don't see a lot of people sharing. I see certain people that do it all the time. Like Bullinator, he shares, and Red Eye shares, and Mel will share, and a Geek Room will share, and most of us, will share. But as a whole, I don't see an awful lot of it, because with these things like YouTube Buddy and vidIQ and everything, you can see the referrals. That link is not as out there as we would like it to be. And what do you think we could do for our subscribers to get them to say, oh yeah, this video, this was great. We need to share this on all their platforms as well, including Facebook. Because Facebook right now is one of our biggest referrals for like one of my other channels.
I don't think there's a trick. Yeah. I think you just have to make material people want to share.
Yeah.
Well, but you still have. Well, there's always a trick. I mean, even for example, like the whole call to action thing, right? The little bug you put on there to say subscribe to this channel. That is a trick of sorts. It's saying, hey, call to action, subscribe to my channel. There are things you can do to help facilitate that process for conversion of people from watching the video into subscribing. Right? Don't you think?
But the thing is, when people want to share something, at the end of the video, you can tell them, guys, if you like my stuff, share it, which many people do. But the thing is, if they don't want to share it, they won't share it either way. And if they do want to share it, chances are they're already sharing it. The only thing you do is basically reminding them.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, I agree with that. Yeah. They're not going to do it either way if they don't want to, but it is a reminder, right? That is true.
Yeah, adding the reminder is fine, but like I'm going through my analytics now, and is there a thing where you can see like referrals?
Yeah, it's through vidIQ you can do it. By the way, Tony, go get vidIQ and go get TubeBuddy.
I'm getting TubeBuddy, I promise you. In fact, I'm looking at it right now. But one of the things I will say that my interest here is not so much about building my own channel. I really do want our community to be a little bit more cohesive. And one of the things, like, I wish I watched a lot more of Mel's videos. I've watched a lot of them, but the thing is, I've said this about Paul's videos, that sometimes he explains things in a different way than I do, and not everybody learns the same way. So my passion is to make sure people are educated. Whether it is they decide they want to be creationists is immaterial. But I mean, Paul explains things very well. Mel explains things very well, and I hope to think that I explain things very well. In the end, what I want is people to have multiple resources to explain things in a way that they get it.
Okay.
And
I have an idea then.
We got an idea on the table. Okay, we love ideas. And by the way, when Mel does when you do your live chat, by the way, I'm usually like the first person in that live chat, like you and PZ the other day. I was first one there, so I got your back, man. You have a stream.
You were the first one there.
Yeah.
That was a fun.
And then you mute PZ, the poor guy. You're sitting there talking to him. Nobody could hear him. I was like, well, I wanted to hear PZ. Yeah, go ahead.
It's only been with him. I don't know what it is.
He's cursed
like
technologically.
Magic or something. He's like, it's magic. I did an audio podcast with him. I thought I recorded the whole thing. And then I had to set it up again the next day. I'm like, PZ, guess what? Can you please talk to me again? And so I actually had him double booked with somebody who writes for Discovery Magazine and National Geographic. And I was just like, I got to get her. She's in Israel. And so I was like talking to her, and then PZ was right after that. So I'm like still talking to her, typing the PZ.
Anyways, you were saying.
But okay. So my idea is, one thing that I know with I have a website as well. I have scientistmel.com. I have a whole section just for educator resources. I could put a whole section on there. It's like, if you like my content, or if you want to learn more about a thing, particular individuals in their channels, they deliver similar content to me. So maybe if and like I said, my website was paid for by my patrons. I just use all my Patreon money for that. And so if we have like individual tabs, even on websites, like if you like my stuff, I'm endorsing this person here. They deliver content, the same content, but in a different way. That we can, do that. Because as a teacher, I tried to explain things in at least 3 or 4 different ways. And if a kid was like, I didn't get that one, I'm like, which one did you get? The first time you said it, think about that one. But at least that way, people can have a spot to say, okay, if you like evolution, this evolution video, check out this one. Or we can format it kind of similarly
real
that
quick,
way.
Luciano's got to take off here. So, Luciano, I want to make sure Luciano, are you there?
It's not me who has to go.
Oh,
no, I gotta go. I got company. So.
Oh, we don't care if the Geek Room leaves. That's fine.
Yeah.
No. By the way, okay, Geek Room, go ahead. You got to go plug your channel real quick. If you guys have not, by the way, TJ Kirk just retweeted a tweet of the Geek Room, which he had actually nice enough to shout out to me as well, and some other people on that. Well, your tweet that he retweeted. But I'm trying to get TJ Kirk on your channel, dude. I won't make it. I'm trying.
We're trying to.
I'm trying.
I just don't want to bug the guy.
Oh, bug him. No, screw him. Bug him. Straight up bug the dude. He needs to be on your channel for a variety of different reasons, and I will do whatever it takes to try to make that happen. So, but go ahead, plug your channel one more time, and let everybody go sub to you. Mel, are you subbed to the Geek Room?
I think I have. If I haven't, let me know, because I'm really bad about things sometimes, and my brain is like Grand Central Station, and trains go in and out. This is why I write things down.
Go ahead and plug your channel there, Geek Room. So we got your link in the video description, by the way.
Yeah,
we're the Geek Room. On Tuesdays, we talk about geeky stuff like movies and TVs. On Saturdays, we usually just kind of take the piss out of YouTube videos, whether it's flat earthers, crazy creationists, or really cringy stuff like a piss cinema.
They could spend 2 hours talking about a urine enema. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
So,
and make it funny though. Make it actually entertaining.
Since I have a lot of cool people here, I was going to say, if you guys want to hop on, the new show that I'm going to start doing is called Spirited Science, where we all have the same type of beverage. And then the evening we have a particular topic that we talk about in regards to science. So if we had tequila night, maybe we would talk about a particular scientist that was from Mexico.
You think I'm going to miss out on that?
We're just
I want to play that.
Yeah, you think I'm not going to show up for that?
Can I be
Please.
I think that would be fun. That's my little tongue in cheek.
Yeah, Tony and I are like, we're there,
so, you
man.
know,
Just tell us what the alcohol beverage
we
is.
have like a
and
pub
we'll
night and talk about Darwin, you know? So.
Invite me sometime. Gosh.
Well, she hasn't had one yet.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be fun.
So what's your first? Okay,
I haven't had one yet. It just would be a couple times a month.
Get out of the way.
What's
your first alcohol beverage that you're going to have, so I know what to get next time at the store? Something cheap, because I'm obviously
I'm I don't know.
Quite poor. That's why I do this shit.
Because
I need the revenue.
Well, the whole format of the show is I will have specific questions that are related to a topic, and I was like, okay, so we know about this topic, and then I would ask it. So it won't be scripted, but I'll kind of lead you through it. And people are like, is this like drunk history? I'm like, no, we're not going to get hammered, although somebody might. And they're like, it's really great about Hidden Figures.
Oh. So what? Okay, wait a minute. What is your spirit that you want to do the first one? I got to know in advance.
I'll probably do Darwin because he was so important to me.
No. What's your spirit? What are you drinking? Not your topic.
Oh, my spirit. Oh, okay. What I would be drinking? It would probably be something. Maybe gin.
Scotch.
Well,
I'm more down with Scotch than straight gin.
Scotch and Darwin. Is that what we call it? Scotch and Darwin.
Well, how about this?
Whiskey and Darwin.
No. Wait. I have an idea. How about you try to relate the name to the drink, like D? So Darwin, something with the D. What's an alcohol with the D? That's cheap.
Dewar's whiskey, man.
Dewar's whiskey.
Irish whiskey.
Dewar's. That's not a bad idea. Ooh. Dewar's Darwin night.
Darwin and Dewar's.
Darwin and Dewar's. There you go. Darwin and Dewar's.
Nice.
This is a collaboration here. This is what you see, people. This is how we do it. We just collaborated.
I'm currently working on a logo and an intro. So there'll be a logo and an intro associated with Spirited Science. That's the main title overall. And then each episode would be like Darwin and Dewar's.
You know what's funny now? I'm not even lying. Some of my more popular hangouts was rum and coke night, when basically we just drink and make fun of flat earthers. People love to watch it. Whatever. So yeah, it would probably get a lot of views.
Well, this will be like, okay, I'll have different questions associated with Darwin, for instance. Maybe talk about the beagle, maybe talk about, the lack of genetic research at the time, and and challenges we associate with interacting with individuals that, say, well, if they're still monkey,
Well, we got to do more
that.
physics stuff too, because I know you're heavily into the biology, you and PZ, but man, like the other day we had actual physicists in here. I was like in heaven, right? And Skeptic, Skeptic, you want to tell your background real quick? I don't want to dox if you don't want to. At least Skeptic. Is he there?
Well, we could.
He's got a sciencey background too, so.
A Newton.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm heavy into thermodynamics though.
That's what
I like physical chemistry,
that's what we were
and there's
just
a lot of
talking about
physics
before we went on
happening.
air was thermodynamics, believe it or not. Yeah, because a couple people have been making videos lately that they got, I think, some things wrong. So. True
See,
story,
if I get
though.
things wrong, I'll be like, "Look, guys, I'm not an astrophysicist." You know.
True
If
story.
I
I actually got blocked.
If you mention it on my video, I'll shout you out at the end of the season.
I actually got blocked by somebody, Mel, recently on Twitter, who is in the atheist skeptic community, because they had been talking about the second law of thermodynamics and they weren't quite correct on it. And somebody who had a master's degree in thermal science, somebody who knows thermodynamics, was correcting them. And I have to tell the guy, what he's telling you is correct. And let me explain to you why. He blocked both of us. So it's not this creationist that cognitive dissonance and mindset where they don't want to receive new information. It is anybody can do that. Because this guy, I've always got along with him. But when he was told he was wrong,
scientists
he
are
flipped.
subjected to that.
Yeah.
Was this guy religious though?
No, he was somebody that I've known for quite some time on Twitter. But he couldn't handle the fact that he was just putting it out there. Well, the second law only deals with isolated systems. I'm like, yes, I acknowledge that. But as a skeptic, and I know that there are ways of applying it to other systems.
Right. Well, I get asked all kinds of crazy questions sometimes on my Twitter account. I'm like, man, I don't know. And so I'll like post it up, and I have friends that are in varying different fields. I'm like, hey, so-and-so, here's a question about, geolocation. Here's my dude that I go to for geolocation. Would you like to chime in? Because I could look on the internet and find reputable sources, but I got a day job now.
But you don't block people. But I don't block people if they're giving me information. It's never happened, and that's the second time in one day. Wait, I got blocked. I got blocked from our favorite creationist group on Facebook. I think most of us are in it. It's kind of a obscure group. It's got 14,000 members, but you know what group I'm talking about, right? Most of you guys are in it. Mm-hmm. I think most. I don't know. Tony, I think you're in. But there's a Facebook group that it's evolution creationism, and I know all the admins. Bill Ludlow's in it, and it's one of our favorite groups. Well, there's a new admin or something the other day, and I had that hangout with Dr. Hankey and Dr. Lachelt, and I had put a notification on there, hey, I'm having a hangout. They're coming in to talk about creationist claims on helium diffusion rates. And the guy asked me, well, are these guys actual scientists? Mm-hmm. Why don't they publish in peer-reviewed journals? And I was like, well, they are real scientists, and they've been published in multiple different journals, Journal of Geology and other things. Well, give us a link for that. I'm like, I'm in the middle of a hangout, but here's their, CV and whatever, and I posted from the Google Scholar, and I posted their links from Talk Origin. And he's like, no. He's like, you made a claim. You need to back it up. I'm like, I just gave you the evidence. I just showed you that they're legit scientists. He went on and on and on. He's like, well, you have 2 minutes. I'm like, 2 minutes to what? And he ended up kicking me out of the group. Kid you not. And I contacted one of the admins that I know. I know all of them, a lot of them. And I told her the story, and she's like, what? She's like, wow. And I'm of course back in. But my point to the story is that not just creationists have that wall. Here's 2 instances where these people are atheists that have that wall. And I even told you, you're not looking at my links. You're not even looking what I'm giving you. These are not young creationist scientists.
You see a lot of overconfidence too. Yeah. You encounter what's called overconfidence a lot, especially with other scientists when they think they know better than everybody else, and you're like, no.
But it's real easy. But Mel, it's real easy to say, hey, you're a creationist, you're wrong. Anybody can do that. It doesn't take any skill. I'm seeing a lot of people that do that. Instead of saying, hey, you're wrong, let me explain to you in detail why you're wrong. Some people who don't have the ability to do that, which are quite a few people, they just rather say, oh, well, show me a peer review paper on this, or show me this. Well, that's not really a refutation. Now, I get we all get to that point occasionally with some people. We say, you know what, we've dealt with you for years. At this point, either put up or shut up, I don't care. But for a new person that you've never met before, I don't think that's the approach you should take with them, because what he was doing to me was not even looking at the information I was providing to him. And
that's welcome to my world. Yeah, well, that's all the time. They'll be like, please provide me links for this and this.
But those
and
are the creationists that say that, right? I mean, how many atheists have you given things to that they didn't
I've
look?
encountered misogynistic atheists.
Okay, well, that's a different breed.
But I'm saying is, you can have racist atheists, you can have misogynistic atheists, you have bigoted atheists, you can have scientists that are bigoted. You can have
scientifically illiterate atheists. Philosophically literate atheists.
It's just
sure.
Nothing surprises me anymore, and so I'll have people come at me and just, you know, even creation, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, people are going to have cognitive bias. And if they don't keep it in check, you get a whole lot of anything from any group, and it really doesn't matter.
And I think you're right on that. I mean, that's something we should point out. And that's something we should be aware of in the Great Debate community and the people that are content creators, that you all have, we all have them, I have them as well, cognitive biases. And if somebody presents you a good argument, you need to recognize it's a good argument. And even if you don't know how to refute it, say, you know what, that might be a good argument. Let me get back to you on it or something. Don't dismiss something just because you are unaware of what the argument is. We had that happen not too long ago with the whole photo argument for natural selection, right? I mean, we had somebody come in and run it by Aaron Ra. And of course, Aaron Ra took it to be a biological argument and just kind of just refuted it, tried to refute it right off the top of his head, not knowing what Photo's argument is. And it didn't really work out too well because it's not a biological argument, it's a philosophical argument, and it's a sound one at that. Photo's argument against natural selection, I think, is a sound argument. But you have to really understand what Photo's trying to argue for. He's not saying natural selection doesn't occur. He's trying to argue for natural selection being what's doing the heavy lifting of the theory of natural selection, when it's not really doing that much because of oddball philosophical stuff that we're not going to get into. But it is something that's a very interesting argument. And just to dismiss it because you don't understand it, because you're so ingratiated with science going, oh, natural selection, of course we know what happens. Well, yeah, that's not Photo's argument, though.
See, I got into.
Okay, guys, just very quickly, sorry for interrupting. I have to go. It was a very nice meeting.
Thank you.
And there's one thing I want to point out before I go, and I tried to get it in before, but because I don't have as few subscribers, but I don't have as many either. So if there is someone who has less subscribers than me and wants a shout out and is good with collaborating and stuff, it takes ages and a half until I get to it. But I will make collabs with everyone that makes decent content. So if you have, you know, a lower subscriber count and, you know, you want to make a collab, then just let me know. Just
can we sing something a cappella together? I would love. I've never really done a collab with anybody. I really never wanted to because I don't know, reasons. But now that I'm actually wanting to do collabs, what would be a good collaboration we could possibly do? Because I don't have the talent you've got on videos.
But the thing is, I'm picky. So if you make a collab with me, I'm gonna push you. I'm going to tell you what to do. Don't worry about it.
Well, no, I get that. You do that anyways with me now.
No, but I really have to go. But either way, if you want to make a collab, just DM me and we'll figure it out.
I will figure something out. All right, we'll get going. Say hi to Logic for me and your family and stuff.
Bye.
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 So I was going to say it was pretty interesting because I encountered, I had something that went on for 4 days on my Twitter about how the whole plate tectonic thing was seen as pseudoscience for a long time, and it was registered as pseudoscience. Like, no, it wasn't registered as pseudoscience.
It just wasn't a confirmed model.
It didn't have substantial, at the time, it didn't have substantial evidence. And so, when I talk heavily about pseudoscience and the dangers associated with that, I get people that are like, well, scientists often mislabel stuff as pseudoscience, like this one time. I'm like, they didn't call it pseudoscience. They said he didn't have substantial information at the time, or evidence or anything. You know, so that's the thing. The scientific community, they're going to call you out and they'll be like, where's your evidence? And if you don't have evidence and you keep on barking up this tree, I mean, that's passion. But at the time, you know, we didn't have the instruments that we have now. So it's not the same type of situation as it was then, because we have better instrumentation. Scientists don't just start automatically going pseudoscience unless it's something that is not substantial.
Or that has been demonstrated numerous times over.
There is an issue. There is an issue with scientists. There was a celebrity doctor who was trying to do these, scaffolds for like throat growth. I forget it. I think is Mariano. I don't remember right off. And I talk about this, how scientists need a place for free speech, to be able to freely call out other scientists without being punished. And this man, because other scientists were silenced for speaking out against their celebrity doctor, people died from his research because he didn't follow distinct well put in place and established protocol to ensure nobody would die from his experimentations. And so this is something that happened just a handful of years ago. Quit the Nobel Committee. People had to step down from, there's this research hospital in Sweden. They had to step down from that. So, I mean, scientists can have bias just like anybody else.
But there's a big difference between pseudoscience and theories that are not yet confirmed. I mean, back in the 60s, the prevalent model was still catastrophism. I mean, it wasn't really plate tectonics yet. Plate tectonics has only really been accepted. It was just before I was born, basically. So it does take a while to get the data to substantiate things. But that was never pseudoscience.
Yes, when you get stuff pseudoscience. So I get a lot of flack from that, from people saying, "Well, scientists call stuff pseudoscience all the time."
No, they don't.
It's not really a problem.
No. What they call pseudoscience is stuff that has been demonstrated to be pseudoscience throughout the ages. I mean, crystal healing, Reiki treatments, crap like that has always been pseudoscience and always will continue. Homeopathy. Pseudoscience. I'm sorry. It is never going to be a science. If it is, something seriously wrong with our understanding of the laws of the universe. So, yeah, I will always consider those
pseudoscience.
What's that?
Just to play devil's advocate, when does something become a pseudoscience, or how do we actually illustrate when something truly becomes a pseudoscience?
I think it's part of the... Okay, go ahead. You're the educator.
There's always that guy.
Well, here's what I say. Okay, so Deepak Chopra, I've ripped apart his papers. Actually, Washington Post recently quoted my Twitter when I was calling out Gwyneth Paltrow and her coffee enemas. So, oh my God, I got in the Washington Post. They know it exists. So I had my 5 minutes of squeeing, and then I calmed down and went on with my life. But this is what I do. I say cherry-picked results. Sample size. You have to look at the sample size. You have to look at conflicts of interest. You have to look at, was there a control group? Anything that pushes a personal or a type of agenda. Deepak Chopra, I picked apart one of his papers. He was trying to show that an Ayurveda diet plus yoga lowers the amount of proteins associated with diseases in your bloodstream. This is on I think 6 ladies that were at his resort. Okay, they did yoga and they ate the Ayurveda diet, and then their final go-to to show that there was a link was Bayesian analysis. Now, if you're not familiar with Bayesian analysis, that's what you start with to try to find if there's any kind of connection. That's not your finish line. You start with that and then you run your tests. All the tests that were performed by people who got money from Chopra, and their research was funded by his resort. So many just issues. It's pseudoscience, but there's a lot of fancy words that sound scientific. And Ben Goldacre, he talks about in his book called Bad Science, how the more sciencey sounding the words, the more people are likely to buy into them. So they'll believe somebody who says all of these fancy words more so than somebody like myself who explains it in simplistic type of vocabulary. So,
I like to use big words that I don't understand their meaning because I like to do photosynthesis.
The electron transport chain, photons come on down.
That's a meme out there.
Let's talk about NADH.
It's a guy from what's his name? It's a meme out there that says he's like I like to use big words I don't understand because I like to photosynthesis. It's like, okay. Yeah, don't get me started on electron transport chain. I'll give you a run for your money on ETC, even though I've probably forgotten quite a bit. I still remember a little bit about the proteins in that. Give me a day or two, and I can definitely probably take you on ETC a little bit.
Okay.
Each complex, each one, what it does, what the cofactors are with it, how many electrons are produced. Because I remember it's 1, 3, 4, and 5 produce the electron, 2 doesn't, and then in the fourth one you have, which is you have cytochrome BC1 and BC. Anyways, people are bored. I sound like Steve's pulling a true empiricism, but.
Tony's already leaning back. He's had it with everybody.
Tony's like, what?
He's just
Yeah. When we start talking about technical stuff, that's not really that technical. That's first year biology, but whatever. I have a video on the ETC that I did.
Jeez.
But again, those
I messed
videos.
up my hair.
Again, those videos. Okay, here's a good question because again, getting back on topic. Thanks, Mel.
Sorry.
So here's a good question. Many of us have a lot of videos. I have like over 600 or something like that. Tony, you're working on 74 now or something, and that's pretty substantial.
No, actually, I probably have well over 200, but I accidentally erased a lot of them. Well over 151.
How do you accidentally erase? I don't even want to know. But
it was a drunken night. Whatever you do, just you shouldn't be on
the internet when you've been drinking, unless you're in Mel's
Hangout.
Hangout.
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
Bad idea. So how do you think is a good way to get people to watch some of your older content? Because there's just so much out there. Obviously, there's only so many hours in the day, and people can only watch so many different things. How do you recommend to them, say, hey, have you seen this video from such and such from a long time ago, and get the older content? Because a lot of the newer channels especially are having the problem that if they don't reach that 1,000 views and they get the little yellow symbol of death, they're never going to get a chance for that video to ever get monetized, which I think is a completely bullshit way of running a business with YouTube, because all they're doing is saying, hey, we're just going to demonetize you right off the bat. Then we're going to have to go in and look to see if we can monetize you. That's not how things should be done. So those channels that never get that 1,000...
Honestly, I don't even think that's how that's done.
What's that?
Because I've had videos that before they're uploaded are demonetized.
Yeah, we've all had that. Yeah, we've all had that.
And I've had videos... No, before they go upload, they're demonetized, and then 100 views later, they become monetized, then get demonetized again, then gets remonetized again.
I'm not even allowed to be monetized yet. I don't know anymore.
We don't know. There's a program like VidQ. It's called vidIQ that we talked about before. The pro version now recently just added a feature where you can actually have it scan your video, and it'll tell you if there's any words that are the deadly words that'll get you demonetized, right? And
did they remove the coding that gave that in
the metadata? No, the metadata's still there. And matter of fact, from what I understand from talking to people in the know that know about this topic, that even after you get remonetized, that metadata still stays on your video. Which means you may not have been recommended.
I forget who the guy was, but when that like it's like 9376, those code numbers, I think YouTube removed them.
You know what? Telltale the Atheist channel. He actually was going to do a video kind of mocking YouTube and asking them, what the hell is it that demonetizes us? We would like to know. We really give us some detailed information on this. I did write a little script for him, and hopefully he might eventually use it on that video, but we don't know. We have no idea.
I don't know. I find, okay, so I do get stats on like my website, and I do write articles as well there. And I find that whatever current topics are in the news, I can be like, hey, this is a current topic that's going on. I did a video about it. Boom, here you go. Marijuana, medical marijuana is back. Do you know about cannabis and how it affects your brain?
Yeah, boom, referencing yourself is very useful. I forget, they're called cards.
No, yeah, I use the cards. I use the cards.
They're cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, including cards in various parts of your video is just like, yeah, I talked about this before. Go look at it.
Well, I mean, but I do this on social media, and I find that social media is the biggest. I get more response out of social media than I do out of YouTube. I get more views on Periscope than I do on YouTube, and it's weird. I know people are like, but some people don't want to watch YouTube. So that's why I use OBS, because it'll stream on Periscope, it'll stream on YouTube. I just bought the thing recently to where I'm still working out Facebook Live. So I'm trying to get to where I hit all of those particular things at the same. It saves me time because I'm busy, but I get a lot of views on Periscope, and people share actively more so on Periscope.
How do you stream to both at the same time with OBS?
What you're saying, Mel, what you're saying, Mel, is that there is such a thing as Periscope?
Yes. I get a lot of views on that. I get more views on that than I do.
How do you stream to both? Like OBS only lets you stream to one at a time.
I use Restream.
Oh, you Restream it. Okay. So Restream only
Restream to do it.
There's Restream, the free version only allows you to restream to certain things. And Periscope is one of the things that Restream will freely restream to. That's good advice.
Periscope is one.
I've thought about that before, actually, and I've looked into Restream, but they didn't seem to have a lot of viable options I was interested in. For free.
I honestly have more Twitter followers than I do YouTube subscribers. And so sometimes I have Twitter followers that'll be like, well, I don't want to go to YouTube. But you can go directly to my Twitter and watch my stream right there. You may not interact. You have to have the app to interact.
Yeah.
But you can watch my show, and people can retweet it right then.
Yeah,
and
we're gonna have an
app. Twitter.
Your podcast.
I'm getting Facebook.
Does your podcast have an app?
And all that. What, my audio podcast?
Yeah. Does it have an app? Because we're actually getting an app for our podcast eventually.
I don't. You know, I have it through iTunes, and I've recently applied to Spotify. I don't know if Spotify took it or not, but I mean, I have
Google Play, Spotify, Spreaker.
Spreaker,
yeah.
Yeah, so I have
iTunes.
to apply. I have to go through and probably apply to all those, but I do have an RSS feed through my website. I host my own podcast on my website, to where all I have to do is just it goes straight to iTunes. So,
well, we're gonna definitely have you as a co-host for one of our podcasts. You know that, right? We just haven't figured out which one you'd be perfect for a co-host.
Okay.
So anybody who does want to be a co-host to the Non Sequitur channel, please let us know. We're booked till March. We've got Richard Carrier. We got a guy. We got what's his name? Mark Curian. He's the owner of the Beverly Hills Lifestyle magazine. We've got. We may have, well, I don't want to say the other guest because I haven't booked her yet, but we got a lot of people till March. So if you want to be a co-host on a specific episode, please let us know. I mean, we want people to from the community to come into our podcast. We want to be a part of your guys' podcast and things of that nature as well. So, you know. So Dieter, we usually go 2 hours, so we're coming up on that 20-minute till mark. So. I mean, we started a little bit late. What do you got to add, Dieter? I mean, what do you think of the Great Debate community so far? By the way, we'll send you the link to actually join the Great Debate community on G+, so you get notified everything. We have a web page, and we even got wiki. Hey, so you want a wiki page? We'll get you a wiki page.
I'm fine, thanks.
You don't want a wiki page? It's fun. Scientist Mel has
Do I have a wiki page?
I think you have a wiki page.
Do I have a wiki page?
I think so. Let's see, the last one I did was, who's the one that I did? I just did one. Who was it? Oh, I did Anti-Ordinaries, I think. And then Rachel Oates and a few other people. Yeah. But it's kind of convenient to have a little wiki page with, your little bio and information right there. Although most of it's satirical, but, So anything you guys want to add to this, to on this particular hangout and advices to smaller channels and what we could do to shout each other out? Anybody who's in this video, I expect at least you shout out one person from the. I don't care. It don't even have to be me. I don't give a shit. Just somebody shout out that you had, except for Paul G. You can't do him because everybody shouts out Paul G. No, I'm kidding. I
hate him as Paul. I
already shouted him out.
Yeah, I didn't get to talk about DNA with Star Wars figures, and so
that's going to be a special episode we have.
Down.
Yeah.
I got a Boba Fett Star Wars card.
I'm going to be shouting everyone out, but I have to go, so I will see you guys later.
Goodbye.
I will be watching your channel.
And I love what PZ just said. Yeah, I know. There's a lot. I know there's a lot of history with PZ and Richard, and I just want to avoid that at all costs. I hope the whole thing goes away. I think Richard should drop the lawsuit, honestly. But I love PZ, and I love, the fact that he's been great to our channel, and I think the whole thing's kind of screwy. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be addressing that with Richard. Because I'd rather talk about some other stuff. But yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff there, PZ, and I hope it works out. I really do. I really just hope he just stops what he's doing on it. I don't think that he really has grounds for a lawsuit, if you really want my honest opinion. But that's just my opinion. So, but
well, I guess back to the question you asked, if you want to just are you saying like closing statements basically?
Yeah, and by the way, let me throw this in there real quick. Friended
I can do that.
Is in the live chat. Friended forever. I'm trying to get you as a guest to come on too. I've been liking your stuff. I saw your thing with Shannon, and you have a really good, amazing radio voice as well. So, but anyways, yeah, let's get some last minute ideas out there.
Okay.
And drink some more wine.
So all the smaller channels out there, best of luck, obviously, because the one thing I want to make very clear to everyone is luck is a factor. So keep your eyes open for opportunity. This could be like something in the news that you have a different perspective on, or joining a hangout that has people that you're interested in talking to. So it's like opportunities are around. Just be aware of them. It's like proactive luck. But so there's that. But also, whether you like it or not, YouTube is built kind of as a cult of personality. It's even if you copied exactly the same thing that someone else said, which you shouldn't, but say two people talked about two people talked about the exact same thing, they could have completely different audiences, and each audience could not want to listen to the other person. There is a degree of personality. There's a degree of presence, your voice, whatever it is.
Right.
This is all important information. Your channel is you as a person, to some degree.
I absolutely agree with
actually, now that I mentioned the voice thing, take advantage of whatever random thing your audience seems to like about your presentation. People adore my voice for whatever reason, so I play that up.
You got a good voice. You don't look like your voice, though. That's what I'm sure you've heard that before. You don't look like your voice.
I have not, actually.
Really? You don't look like your voice?
I actually have not. No one said that really before.
Yeah. Well, I'll be the first. There.
So it's
Steve loves your
people
voice.
Assume that
I do listen to people's voices. I do. Yeah.
No, the most common thing is people assume I'm older than I am, but since I keep aging as time progresses, as it do, that's slowly going to stop being a thing.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, a friend in forever. You guys don't. I would like to put shouts out for the people in the live chat, because the people that take the time to come listen to us, I think, deserve some recognition. That's just one thing I do on my channel. So, friend in forever, he actually has a video called "Social Justice Detective." If you guys have not seen this, it's epic. I'll try to put the video link in the video description. He'll have to probably remind me, but go to Friended Forever and go watch Social Justice Detective. It is so funny. And high quality production. I mean, I don't know what he does, but it's obviously in some kind of actual video production line, because it's not your average run of the mill, oh, I'm going to go make a video kind of thing. So he's like, I'm just here to argue with PZ Myers. Yeah, well, if you want that, we'll bring in G-Man. No, I wouldn't do that to PZ ever again.
I wouldn't do that to PZ.
Oh, did you ever watch that? That was G-Man.
I did.
God bless his little heart, was trying to explain biology to PZ Myers, and I was just sitting there going, "Oh, just kill me now."
Bless, that's so sweet.
It was so adorable.
PZ's been good to me.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
I'm like, "Oh, good.
He's
You good, G-Man. You know, it's just you're gonna explain biology to an embryologist. That's adorable."
I think probably my favorite conversation I've had with PZ is ethical cannibalism.
You know what? That was a great discussion, though. I was involved in that. I was like going, So let's talk about
ethical cannibalism.
Let's talk about if you grow meat in a lab, is there efficacy issues of eating it? Because is it cannibalism?
Yeah, it's human stem cells. What if we grew meat?
We
from
talk
human
about all
stem
kinds
cells?
of weird stuff. That's what I like about my channel. You guys have your own little niche. My channel is we could talk about anything. Anybody can come in and run any arguments. We'll debate. We'll debate the stupidest things. It doesn't matter. Come on in. Be part of the great debate community. Come to my channel. Argue anything you want, except for flat Earth anymore. I think I'm over that. But
see, that was like a special episode of that particular show, because I did the science of PZ Myers, and so I just happened to get him on there. I might have interviews like that, but most of the time that particular show that I do is a particular topic. But I couldn't pass up having PZ on that show. He was just awesome.
Yeah, I like PZ. He's always been really good to my channel. He's always he held his own with G-Man, so. No, he didn't lose it though. I was like, PZ's just going to lose his mind, because G-Man obviously, God bless his little heart, doesn't know much about biology, and I think PZ handled it really well. So
he's had people protest his talks at like universities and stuff. It's just like, why don't y'all come in and listen? No.
Yeah, no. See, I'm for free speech, right? And there's a lot of social justice stuff out there. I don't really get too much into it. I have my own personal views, obviously, on that. But I believe anybody has a right to speak their mind. And if they go to a university, unless they're promoting one or two things, I'm against people having a platform if they're promoting violence and if they're actively promoting racism. Okay, if they're like somebody from there for the KKK, I don't think you have to give them a free passed to have a platform for speech. I don't think that's part of the original intent of you know, because it does advocate violence, it does advocate divisiveness, and I don't know if that actually is qualified under free speech. Now other people can disagree with me on that. They're like, you know, the KKK has every right to have a platform and be up on stage. No, I don't think so. Do they have a right to do it outside? Sure, you know, but anyways, people are wrapping it up here. What's that?
Oh, no, I'm just saying sometimes I do talk about social things just because it's a thing that exists, and I primarily do talk about science, but politics does indeed affect science. And when you're dealing with people making decisions and laws based on bad information or pseudoscience, then that does become a problem.
I agree, and that's why we added... But Mel, that's why we added the political section.
I tried to touch on that a bit. Yeah.
On the GDC, I had asked, do they want a political section? And most of people said yes. Now, it is a very hard section to moderate because it is a very touchy subject, especially in the great debate community when you're mixing religion and politics and alcohol. What could go wrong? I mean, it's like the trifecta of all
Sounds like an Irish pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, sounds like an Irish pub where, you know.
But I think everybody put some really good advice in this video. I hope people take it to heart. I do want people to really, if you like this stuff, you like these content creators, not just watch their stuff, but subscribe to them and share the links. I think that's the most critical thing out there that I think would increase everybody across the board. And I've had this model from day one. Anybody who gets a sub is more likely for somebody else to get a sub. A rising tide lifts all ships when it comes to YouTube. If I shout out to Mel and from people that listen to me, they're going to go subscribe to her because I'm recommending to her. And they know I'm not going to recommend somebody who's crap. And I hope other people do the same thing, right? Because I build up a little bit of...
I'm not crap.
She's not crap. Yeah, she's, you know, yeah, she's not crap. I mean, is that the highest recommendation you want? Well, she's not crap. Go watch her.
She's not totally crap. She's a little bit above that, more like barfy, but not full on shit.
So let's wrap this up. Everybody put a little shout out to their channel. The links are in the video description below. And please, come on, people, subscribe to them and share their links. It's well worth it. Especially, Tony, let's start with you first because, again, I'm not kidding. You have the most underrated channel, even though you have more subs than I've got, and I hate you for it. But shout it out. Let's get you promoted. Here's some goals. We're going to set some goals. We got to get you to 10,000 subs by, when do you say? Give me a date.
Oh, really? It's all on me?
Well, you got, yeah, we're not going to carry the whole workload for you.
No, it's okay. I have a show. It's called How Creationism Taught Me Real Science. It sounds exactly like the opposite of what it is. But if you enjoy, if you watch it after 2 minutes into the show, you might start learning something. And I know I did, so hopefully you will too. But you know what? The point is, we got some great content creators, and I'm the only. I'm not the only one doing it as a hobby, but this is my hobby. There's some great people out there that, I mean, Mel's one of them, Paul's one of them, you're one of them. We've got some great channels out there. What I really want to see is a cohesion again of the community that was there about 10 years ago. I'd like to see that again. I would love that
as well. I agree with you fully on that. And I think
that happen.
Dusty Smith was tweeting something about that the other day, that he wanted to revive it as well, but I don't think he's made any steps to do so, even though I've invited to this particular hangout called Dusty. So I think it's going to be up to us. I think it's going to be up to the content creators that are out there now and the newer ones. I've been telling people for a while now that 5 years from now, you are going to be the old guard. That doesn't mean that you won't be around, but the people that we respected, the people that we looked at when we started getting into YouTube and going, oh my God, these people are brilliant. People like the Living Dinosaur and King Crocoduck, and we would listen to DPR Jones, and well, I mean, so many different people out there that really don't put up much content anymore. There's still around. Dark Matter 2525. Those are the old guard, right? They set the way for a lot of the new channels that are promoting critical thinking or atheism or skepticism or science. So one day, 5 years from now, they'll be like, oh my God, yeah, I remember Mel. She hit that million and she just kind of vanished or something. Or, you'll be whatever it is, you'll be the old guard. You'll be like, hey, yeah, we remember, scientist Mel. We remember Tony Reed. So that's what I want to see happen. I want to see people nowadays have the same ability that was years ago. But even though years ago, it was a lot easier. I've noticed if you look at people's channels, they used to get hundreds of thousands of views a video because there was far less content in 2008 or something like that, right? And there wasn't a lot of channels around doing these types of things. So these were the big names. So it's a lot tougher to get into it now. It really is, for especially small channels. If you got 1,000 subs, you consider to be, I think, in the top like 20% of all YouTube, if you factor in all the people that don't have any content, right? So, yeah. Anyways, moving on. Mel, you want to do your channel real quick, and then we'll get to Dieter?
Sure. So my channel, it's Scientist Mel. Essentially, that's just my brand across every form of social media, as well as my website. So if you can't remember my YouTube channel, just type in Scientist Mel, and you'll find something associated with me. So my channel primarily focuses on, I put up polls on Twitter, and everybody votes on what it is that I'm going to talk about on a live stream on a Saturday. So I, in a matter of days, pull together everything that I can find associated with the topic, and I present it on YouTube, Periscope. I'm trying to connect Facebook Live with Restream, so that's a new thing, to where I discuss a particular topic. Now, sometimes it can be kind of, harder content. I did talk about CRISPR once, but that required me to talk a little bit more, maybe genetics. That's a bit harder. But essentially, I try to make it accessible for everyone. Now, I am going to diversify the type of shows. Sometimes I have something called Scientist Mel Shorts, where it's like natural selection in like 5 minutes, dark matter in 5 minutes. So I'll have shorter shows on there, but they're called Scientist Mel Shorts or Science Minute Monday, or I'll have my full show. It's usually around 40 minutes. It's live, interactive. You can ask me questions right away. And then I'm going to have a show called Spirited Science, which is a bit more tongue-in-cheek, where I'll have people on a hangout. We'll all have the same beverage, the adult beverage, and there'll be a theme for that particular night, whether it be Darwin with natural selection, or we'll talk about a new thing in science technology, and any type of division. But I'm kind of patterning after a show. If you've not seen Dinner for Five, it's going to be along those kind of lines, a show that was done by Jon Favreau. Love that show. Very low-key, casual, not drunk history. Although there should be a science version of that, I'm totally on board for that. But that's essentially what I do. I'll have diversified types of shows related to science to try to boost interest as well as scientific literacy, because we all need to be curious again. We need to question. We need to ask why, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need that once more, especially in the current climate. So that's what I do. Scientist Mel. Awesome. Everywhere, anywhere on the internet.
And she's not total crap. That's always a plus.
I'm not total crap. I'm sorry I swore. I don't swear ever on your shows.
Well, when we have some spirit science, yeah. So Dieter, you want to talk about your channel too?
That's the first time I've ever sworn on your show, Steve. I feel like really bad.
I have corrupted so many people. I have popped so many cherries. I lost count. It was like several dozen. I mean, even Dave the other day, he's never been in a hangout before.
Here, have a T-Rex ornament. That makes it better, right? There's my T-Rex ornament.
Yeah, we're gonna have a special segment. Scientist Mel explains science using Star Wars and dinosaurs. It's gonna be great. I did go ahead and tell your channel because, like I said, you're new to us for a lot of people. I only started watching your videos this morning, to be honest with you, and then you basically take a video, you sit there and just kind of like tear it apart. And the one or two that I watched about these people don't understand science, and you're right, they don't. That's kind of your niche. So you want to tell people that.
The style of my channel is generally I'll take a bit of something that someone either sent to me or I just came upon on the internet, and I try my best to essentially have a conversation with, act as if I'm having a conversation with the person in the video, and just be like, what are you talking about? What does this mean? Audience watching this video, what is going on here? And I try my best not to either wait a while. It's like I try it to be as fresh as possible. So sometimes I won't even watch the video I'm responding to. I'll just play it, then record. And
That's
if
the kind of
have
style I
watched
want to
it,
start
I'll still
doing.
try my best to be as genuine as possible.
Yeah, I like that style actually. That's
So,
what I thought
yeah.
about doing. If I do stuff like that, that's what I was going to attempt. Something along those lines. Real time stuff, right?
Yeah, and that's why most of my responses are probably 2 to 3 times as long as the other person's actual video.
Did you ever get any of them to actually join you? I mean, because like I said, I don't want to bother with like the Joshes of the world and Firstany or
so
whatever.
Far, the only person that I've been able to talk to was a deflating atheism.
Okay. Before we
Is
go
that
off
their
there,
name?
how was your experience on that? Because I could tell you right now,
It was a fantastic conversation.
I
brought
find him
on
to
my
be
channel and we
despicable
just
and
talked
deplorable
about it.
myself. But you actually think he's okay?
No, it's. Maybe it's just me.
Wow.
Or I had a really good conversation with him when I was actually able to talk with him live instead of through response videos.
Interesting. Wow.
But that being said, even when I do response videos, I get animated, but I try not to outright insult the person. I'll try to critique or insult their behavior or maybe some of the ideas they're presenting. But other than that, I try really hard to just focus on the actual subject of the video.
Which is the way it should be. Yeah, I agree with that. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna be ending this. A special shout out to Professor Stick. He couldn't make it, but he told me he was sorry he couldn't make it. But I was trying to get Professor Stick in here. He has a wonderful channel as well. Shout out to him. And anybody else who I had asked to come in if they couldn't make it, let me know. I'll maybe have another one of these for those people, because I had a lot of people that did want to add something to this, but unfortunately with time zones and everything else, we can't get everybody together. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Hopefully they get something from this video and how to promote their channel a little bit more, and hopefully we all start promoting each other's content. I think Tony has the best idea. We are a cohesive unit. Whether you're a member of the GDC or not, I think that if you have ideological similar positions, especially when it comes to promoting of science, then we are in the same boat. I don't give a damn whether you believe in God, you don't believe in God. It makes no difference to me. What I care about is, are you going to put forth stuff that is going to help people get educated and people learn, and not have people out there that do not have some basic conceptions of science, because that I think is hurting people. And as a father, one of the reasons I'm doing this is much like Paul. I want people to be educated, because I don't want my daughter growing up in society that think the earth is flat, or think the earth is young, or think a man walked with dinosaurs, because I can't even imagine my daughter going to college and having, peers tell her, oh yeah, well, don't you know that the earth is flat? I mean, it's something that needs to be abolished. So no matter what your ideological beliefs is, it doesn't matter to me. Go ahead.
All I got to say is, one of the main reasons why I started my Science Communicator account is based on the 2012 National Science Foundation study on scientific literacy, where 1 in 4 people think that the sun revolves around the earth.
I don't know. I heard that, but I don't.
So,
I have a hard time believing that statistic for some reason.
I understand. You can go. I'll send you the link to the study. They not only did U.S., but they did other countries as well.
But hear me out real quick before I go off air. We have about a little over 1,200 people in the Great Debate community, and I would say when I look at the analytics, at least 400 or 500 people are active a week. Okay, that means they've liked something, they've involved themselves in some way, they've done a post, they've done something. So we have at least 500 really active members. If that statistic was true, then some of those people would think that the sun revolved around the earth. I have not met one yet. So what is their sample that they're taking from? What is their?
You also have to look at the fact that when the people in your particular group are not ever going to be one of those.
It doesn't matter. I have Facebook. I have Twitter. It doesn't matter. I have never met a person in my life, not one, that thinks this.
I've been on Facebook. So I use a particular app to make a little video that says 1 in 4 people think that the sun revolves around the earth. Don't be in 1 in 4. On my science page on my Facebook, immediately somebody shared it. Somebody jumped up and said the heliocentric model, and just starts blasting me. It's just
all right. So
I can be on the internet like 5 minutes, and I'll encounter somebody that thinks that.
Higher math here. How many people you said? What's the percentage? I believe it.
It was a little under 25%. It was around 23, 22.
All right, so simple math here. We have 4 people here, so odds are one of us believes that the sun revolves around the earth. I'm going to go with Tony, because reasons.
You're also catering your audience. You're catering to a particular.
It's got to be one of us.
You got a little bit of bias there.
Somebody take the hit.
Nobody in this group would believe that. So we're talking about a large.
Look at it though. I mean, obviously the sun goes around.
I live in the Bible. Okay, I live in the Bible Belt. I could walk down my street and about probably 99% of the people on my street right now think evolution is bunk.
Well, yeah, that's
okay. 90. Yeah, I mean, what room are you in? So,
well, yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah, but we can't accept the fact. But we totally can accept the fact that, I mean, obviously the sun revolves around the Earth, right?
That's gonna be Tony's next video,
but,
by the way.
Then you have Harvard graduates that can't explain the seasons. So I mean.
Well, I was somebody was telling me the other day that the person was explaining them or trying to explain to them why we see the same side of the moon, and they're like, "Oh, because the moon is tidal locked, it's like a rigid body and it doesn't revolve." And I'm like, no, the moon does.
Yeah,
revolve. If not, we would see the other side.
Study.
But.
It's like I'll send you that study. I'll send you the link to the study, or you can find it yourself. I mean, it's a widely used and known study.
Yeah, no, I know. I've read it. No, I've read it, but I don't know the details because again, I've just somebody had pointed out Netflix.
And 30% of the U.S. authority fallacy.
There you go.
I mean, okay. Another stat was 30% of the U.S. accept evolution, 70% don't. I mean, so
well, somebody had pointed
out probably the same people.
Somebody had pointed out that
similarly close.
Somebody said that Nephilim Free was a geocentrist, or used to be. Yeah, he used to be. He's not any longer though. So there is hope. There's hope. He actually learned something. But anyways, we got to go, guys. We're gonna stop this. Again, thank everybody for watching. Sub, and the links are in the video description. Sub to Mel, sub to Tony, sub to Dieter, sub to this channel, sub to the Non Sequitur Show channel, because we're gonna have a new podcast coming out today. That was based on comedy from Stephen Lesser. He's the owner of the Idiot Box Comedy Club and the person in charge of the Ultimate Comic Challenge. He has hundreds of thousands of people that follow his venue. So once we get that podcast up, he's going to put it on his Facebook. He also has a PhD in neuroscience. Yeah. So he's going to be more involved with us after we had a long talk with him. And he likes science and he likes comedy. And we explained to him some of the things that we have heard from the Clown Car Posse as being members of the Great Debate community here. And he's like, that's comedy that we cannot create. That is something that writes itself. I have to make use of this. So we're trying to work with him to have a comedy routine on some of the things that some of the members of the Clown Car Posse have said, because it is just so funny. So with that, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys get something out of this video, and we'll see you next time.